Most ancient battles are remembered for who won. This battle is remembered for how badly the loser never got over it. Cannae, 216 BC. Rome loses somewhere between 50,000 and 70,000 men in a single afternoon, while the other side loses less than 10,000. That's not a defeat, that's a trauma. History textbooks usually tell this story like a geometry problem. Arrows, flanks, double envelopment, clean, clinical, safe. But here's the problem. If Cannae was just a tactical lesson, Rome wouldn't have spent the next 3 centuries obsessed with the man who did it. So tonight, we're busting the myths of Cannae, not to relive a battle, but to understand why Rome was so shaken that it tried to erase the winner from memory. We'll be exploring 3 myths that have kept the real story of this humiliation hidden, because Hannibal didn't just beat Rome, he embarrassed it. Myth 1. Hannibal's victory was just clever tactics and lucky terrain. This is the version everyone learns. Hannibal found the right field, he used the famous double envelopment, the Romans walked into the trap. End of lesson. But that explanation quietly removes the most uncomfortable detail. Battles aren't won by diagrams, they're won by people. At Cannae, the so-called center of Hannibal's army wasn't a geographic feature, it was Libyan heavy infantry, professional African soldiers trained to absorb pressure without collapsing. And the cavalry that shattered Rome's elite horsemen wasn't improvising. It was Numidian cavalry, allies from North Africa, fighting with speed, flexibility, and coordination that the Romans simply didn't have an answer for. This wasn't luck. This was a coalition, forged across cultures, languages, and regions, working exactly as intended. Rome didn't lose because it chose the wrong battlefield. Rome lost because it faced an army built on unity, experience, and trust. Rome brought numbers. Hannibal brought neighbors who actually talked to each other. The verdict? False. Cannae wasn't a trick. It was a demonstration of Africa's military cooperation at its peak. Myth 2. Rome's hatred of Carthage was about morality. After Cannae, Rome changed tone. Suddenly, Carthaginians weren't just enemies. They were treacherous, cruel, untrustworthy. Roman writers even coined a phrase for it, Punic faith, meaning dishonesty itself. The story we're given is moral outrage, but here's the problem. Rome didn't invent moral campaigns against weak enemies. It invented them against threatening equals. Carthage wasn't a barbarian outpost. It was a wealthy, literate, technologically advanced civilization with deep trade networks, agricultural science, and a military tradition capable of producing Hannibal. And Cannae proved something Rome couldn't tolerate. Rome could be outthought, outplanned, outfought. So the response wasn't just military, it was psychological. By turning Carthage into a moral villain, Rome could transform humiliation into righteousness. It's easier to burn a city if you convince yourself it was evil first. This wasn't about ethics. It was about saving face on a civilizational scale. The verdict? False. The smear wasn't moral judgment. It was damage control after public humiliation. Myth 3. The story ends when Carthage is destroyed. 146 BC. Carthage is burned, its territory absorbed, its name turned into a warning. And we're told that's the end. But history doesn't work like a light switch. Rome didn't erase Carthage. It inherited it. Carthaginian agricultural manuals were translated into Latin and used to improve Roman farming. Their naval designs reshaped Roman shipbuilding, and Hannibal himself became the benchmark every Roman general was measured against. Not celebrated, feared. Rome won the war and then spent centuries studying the loser. The physical city fell, but the psychological wound stayed open. Cannae permanently shattered the myth of Roman invincibility, and Rome never forgot that feeling. The verdict? False. Carthage fell, but the humiliation of Cannae lived on inside Rome itself. So why does this matter? Because when we repeat the old story, tactics, diagrams, destruction, we're still following Rome's version. The real story is harder to sit with. An African-led coalition didn't just defeat Rome, it forced Rome to confront the fact that the empire could be humbled. And when power is humiliated, it doesn't just respond with force, it rewrites history. Some defeats are so deep, the only way to survive them is to pretend they never really happened.
Every episode is a new chance to test what you know and, of course, rethink what you thought you knew. Be sure to like, subscribe, and come back next time where we test your knowledge on something entirely different.